go, we're up and running.
Yay.
Let's just make sure it's all up and running on the channel.
Yeah. Stream is live on the channel. We have no viewers right now, so if you want to say any inappropriate words, do it now.
I haven't got my soundboard up, so I can't do any beeping words, I'm afraid.
Sad.
We got O Stephen in the chat, the first one. So I believe
Hello,
we're up
Mr.
and running.
Perfect.
Right, here we go. FRL Season 12 for the F2 World Championship. The last season on this game. We believe so. And alongside me, obviously this is Michael F1 hosting the stream and probably the near future. And alongside me, just for now, is the lovely T-Hawk. Good evening.
Hi. Hi, Mom.
Yeah, brilliant as always. As I'm a little bit rusty myself. The only reason T-Hawk's here because young Grumpy Charlie's got some work to do. Apparently, I didn't know why he can't. I don't know why he can't get his
Apparently he has to
butler.
prepare for school.
Yeah, but
Imagine that.
I'm pretty sure his butler can do that. To be honest, he's there for everything. But yeah, here we go. We only got 2 tiers for this season, as we have some difficulties getting drivers in. Obviously, it's the game itself, nothing to do with the league. But yeah, we have only got 2 drivers. 2 drivers. Two.
Two drivers.
Yeah, some league this, isn't it? 2 tiers in FRL for this season, but hopefully we'll get our 4 back up and running when the new game comes out. But that doesn't mean it can't be any less interesting, as we are starting in Austria for the first race of the season. A very interesting track to start off with, because it's a track you can definitely get a lot of opportunities to overtake here.
Definitely. I mean, we chose the calendars for this last season based on how raceable the tracks are, and I think we got quite a nice calendar there. Austria usually not a typical track to begin the championship, apart from 2020. But I think it should still be a good opener, fairly easy track to navigate. So hopefully the drivers won't have too many difficulties keeping it on the road.
Yeah, and obviously this late in the stage of the gaming community itself, you would think people would master the game of what's corners you can take or what not to take aggressively, but it's still a lot of challenging curbs and bends to do, especially around this track, especially simple turn 1, of course. If you touch that curve, you're pretty much losing the back end straight away, and turn 2 also when you're elevated across turn 2 when it goes uphill and go to flat surface. So it's a bit very, despite being 9 corners, I believe, 7 corners, not many corners around here. 10, that's it, I can't even count. You can tell I'm an expert of this track knowledge. Yeah. But yeah, it is one of the quite challenging tracks just to probably get that perfect lap in as well. So qualifying could be very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is the shortest lap time-wise on the calendar. So every tiny mistake can cost you dearly. And obviously, with this track being in Austria, rain can be a possibility around here. So that can mix things up even more for the drivers.
Indeed, and I think we do have a full grid this evening, don't we?
Yeah, Flex just joined.
Compared
so
to
we should have a full grid.
Yeah, compared to previous races, we've got a full grid, which is very nice to see. I think that's what we're all just looking forward to, just a nice, good full grid coming into the first opening race of the season. And should we go for predictions now, or we're just going to wait until probably when the race starts? Because we got obviously mix of F3, F4, and probably F2 drivers in here as well.
Yeah.
So, do you want to do predictions now for qualifying, or do you want to see? wait until we get
I
to
mean,
the
we might as well do
race.
some predictions for qualifying. If we see what the weather is like first, it seems to be sunny.
Yeah, beautiful.
Let's get the data up.
I don't think Charlie is doing his work. I could see him doing a tan in front of the balcony there. He's not doing a good hiding spot there. But
Need
yeah,
some
nice.
vacation.
Yeah,
Season
he's
hasn't even
forgot
begun yet.
his sunnies pretty much. But here you go. Yep, a full 20 drivers waiting in the pit lane, waiting to go out. But yeah, what would your predictions be, T-Hawk?
Based on the preseason race, which I commentated last week as well, Emil in P12 in the Williams, he was quite fast there, battling for the win. So he could be a contender for pole. Liesano is a qualifying merchant, so he could be a contender for pole. Yuri obviously has been very competitive last season in the 3. So I'd say probably Emil, Liesano and Yuri being in the top 3 in any order.
Interesting. Obviously, I didn't really pay much attention last week because I just forgot it was happening because I was working quite late during the week last week, so I was just completely oblivious of this going on in pre-season. But I'm just going with the people that I do know and has got the pace round here. I'll probably go for Sano for pole. Obviously, these are risky opportune predictions here. Sano for pole. Maybe Ed Sachs for P2 and Uri for P3. Very bold, I admit,
Right.
but we
Quite
have
a
to.
sensitive prediction there.
You don't sound very convinced.
I mean, as we said earlier, this is the shortest lap, so I think it's going to be very, very tight throughout the field. I think in Bahrain we had the top 15 or so within like a second. Or at least the top 5 within like 2 tenths, I think. So it is a very competitive grid. So it could literally be half the field that could end up on pole.
Well, we have to wait and see as we're on board the Ferrari of Mr. Mark. In the Ferrari, of course, started his first fine lap of the season so far. Nice and tidy. As it sounds, I presume most of these drivers will just do one banker lap and have that as a target for their final runs. Just need to wait for the temperature just to dig into the track where all the grip is. A nice steady lap so far. Purple obviously because he is the first one up through that sector. Coming through the last 2 corners now. Riding the curve there. A little bit of a lift off there. I think he had to correct it. Missed the apex on the last corner as well. But let's see where this puts in. It's a 1.6.2.
Definitely be faster. Leslie, very closely matched.
Yeah,
just half a tenth behind.
Yeah, Sano's on the mediums, very surprisingly, as Ratcliffe goes fastest for a 5.3. A second clear as well, which is very impressive.
Yeah.
As his teammate, about half a second closes that gap in P2. We're on board with Ratcliffe's teammate Van Dungen, once again teammates in Aston Martin as well. Seem like they can't get away from each other, especially going to be in the same team. Yellow flags in sector 1 and 2. But let's see where this puts Van Dungen. Only last place out of the lot, 6.3. As Evil Zook has gone up in P5 in the medium tyres.
It's like P2, just half a tenth behind Weckler.
Yeah, very good luck in the Alpha. Yellow flags in sector 2. I think that's people getting in the way, which is the Haas driver of JB. No, that's not JB.
Texax, I think it is.
No, I think it's Star actually. Oh yeah. Yeah, he's just getting out of the way of everyone.
I mean, it's interesting watching him right now. He's on the brakes, which makes me think that he's maybe recharging his battery. And of course, on this track, I think drivers will be able to do 2 flying laps on one set of tires because, as we said, they only have 10 corners around the track. So there isn't that much tire wear and that much stress being put on the tires in the flying laps, so they might as well just try to do 2 laps on one set and then save another set for the race.
Yeah, As you. Hello, Parrot. I see you're watching the stream. Thank you for tuning in. As always, we see a spinner, as soon as I say that, on the last corner from Costa in the Alfa Romeo, as we see Gamer going on top with a 4.9 first person into the under 4-minute 5 barrier.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Macho is predicting that the pole up will be a 1 minute 4.6. So right now we'd be 3/10 away from that. I think that's very much possible for those drivers to achieve. Maybe even a low 1 minute 4.
Yeah, very possible, as I am trying to flick through everyone to see who I can get on board with a lap on. So many cars out on track, it's very hard to keep on board with, but looks like O. Stevens coming around for another lap, but it doesn't look like he's improved to the 9th position. Speaking of O. Stevens, he's back with his teammates Ballboy, which we haven't seen for quite a while. Back in the day, if anyone's been around for so long, you know these guys could never be very far apart from each other. So it's a nice little touching mixture for those two, but probably not in the team they expected, because they are normally covered in red, I presume.
Yeah, it was quite funny when I did the draw of our teams yesterday. Ballboy wanted Ferrari, or Steven wanted Mercedes. Or Steven even messaged me saying, make sure that you give us Mercedes, so that Ballboy was going to be angry.
How much did he pay you on that?
No, it was...
Monopoly
It was
money's not real, you know
just a
that.
turn on the wheel of fortune, and the fate, the gods have decided that they should get Mercedes, so hopefully that's not gonna cost Ballboy any time not being in his favorite team, as I think it was Ivor going P2, 2.5 tenths behind his teammate.
Yeah, he does, yeah, 2 tenths away, 1-2 for McLaren as it stands. JB, who's out on a lap, might get slipstream from the Ferrari. He's just left the pit lane. Hopefully he'll get out of the way soon, and he does do that. He's got traffic on his final lap, but luckily the Red Bulls got out of the way also. Uri's just about to complete his lap. He goes P3, 2 tenths behind P2, threatening the McLarens up ahead. So it's really close between probably the top 5 there, not too far apart, but only just half a second apart. As we are still on board JB, I think he was on an out lap anyway, because he did a 1:10, so not really a competitive lap.
I'm pretty sure he's pushing right now. He's over 3 seconds up on his time, which doesn't mean much because he's far off the pace on his first lap.
Yeah, and here comes JB at the last corner, keeping in track limits. And let's see with his personal compared to time, P7 with a 5.7. So it's
never good pairing there in the Haas team between Scar and JB, being very closely matched.
Yeah, very let's say good team choices there between drivers, and let's say your lucky Will. And because it is really close between the Haas drivers and the McLarens as well. The Red Bulls are not very too far apart, so they're good choices there.
Yeah.
But we have to see where Ballboy goes in, because obviously he likes to do his one lap near the ends.
Which I don't get. Scar meanwhile going purple in sector 1, I think that might be legitimate. In the meantime, Rekla managed to split with 2 McLarens, and Zook up in P4 as well.
Yeah, and I think there's a Williams second to last corner, but they're just coming into the pits. Oh no, here's the other Williams coming across the line to start his flying lap. Don't know if anyone else is going to fly up ahead of him.
Scar's coming into the last sector now, improving by a little bit more than a tenth. So he could get his teammate here. 2 more corners to go, sends it into turn 9.
Yeah.
Oh, and
was that?
If that would be a race, that would be a penalty for him for not...
Yeah, I don't think that was a spin at all there. I didn't really see the back end going. Unless
it was a very late decision to go into the pits right there.
I mean, there was some extreme downforce there if he managed to keep that under control.
Maybe he's cheating. Maybe this is turning into F1 esports where everybody is just turning on cheats.
No.
No.
Right, back to action now. Looks like Cassidy is on his flying lap, completing his second flying lap.
He just got started.
Yeah, I think he's about to restart now. His battery's all filled up, so he must have had traffic.
Yeah, he has one doggo right behind him, looking looking for a toe, but I think he's a little bit too far behind for that.
Yeah, I think he's about to start his lap as well, so no point looking at him. Ballboy's still in the pits. As you're right, is he about to start his flying lap also from P3 at the moment? Hunting his teammate for pole. As Costa is out in P7, which I think he's already done that lap. Judging by his battery.
I think I was just looking away. I think Ivo had a big snap through turn 1, just as I was going
Yeah.
away.
Oh, and someone else spun in sector 2. Looks like a Williams.
I
Let's
think
quickly
that's
see who that
Flex.
was. Yeah, it was. It was Flex. He lost it quite a long way from the exit of turn 2 by the looks of it. But I was on board with Sano as he was purple in sector 1. But it looks like he's drained all his battery already. So I'm not too sure this is a flying lap. If it is, I don't think it's going to be a very quick one. As we see,
Yeah,
all
he's
the
going to lose
drivers.
out now in the last sector.
Yeah, as we see quite a train in the middle sector now coming up to the twisty parts.
Yeah.
He is going for it though. With this speed improvement, yeah, P9, but he did that with barely any battery. So if he can get one more lap in, he might have another chance for at least pole position because he was purple as it stands. As we see a lot of, we're basically creating a train here coming up to the start-finish line now.
Yeah, we got Ivo on a lap, we got Yuri starting a lap, Banan starting a lap. There's an Alpine without a nose, I think that's Texax. Yeah, Texax with front wing damage.
Yeah. Oh, and just on board with Ivo, lost it off turn 2. Tried to correct it, but he ended up spinning into the barrier. Tried to rejoin safely.
See, that's damage for him. He does have enough time to get back into the pits and repair his front wing.
Yeah, I think he might have had a little bit of damage because he did clip it quite massively. Someone else has gone off. It looks like another Alpine of
I
Texrex,
think
and it
that's,
was.
yeah, that's Texax with his damage.
He's more damage. He's got no front wing at all. So unless he collided with someone, because there was a lot of cars down that
I
corner in
think he
turn
got
2.
it out of the final corner starting his lap, and now he just has to manage a whole lap without his front wing, trying to make his way back towards the pits.
Well, here comes Uri, gone up to P1 for now. As
Again,
Gamer's
Banan.
gone with probably a cheeky little slipstream from Uri there. As Rackler has gone up to P2 now, just shy of that pole position, only a 10th shy. Obviously, Ivo has not got the chance to go up as Evil Zeus go to P4 now, ahead of Ivo.
Very good lap from him.
And I think
Scar, not a booth.
here comes the other Williams driver, probably a debutant who's just starting this flying lap actually. So let's go on board with Scar. He's up to. I don't think he's up on his time, but he is coming up to some traffic.
I think he just finished his lap and is probably trying to cool down the tires now and go for another lap. Or pit and get a new set, 1 for 2.
I think Edzak is just coming in. Make sure if you come into the pits, make sure you take that pit lane line in the race.
Oh,
I'll be doing that wrong.
that's a McLaren spun. That's Gamer Banan who spun on the pit entrance somehow. And oh god, that was closer to Aston Martin coming into the pits as well. It was almost a collision in the pit entrance, but luckily managed to avoid each other. That was Reckler who just barely avoided Banan there.
Yeah, and is Viper Gamer down in 14th at the minute. And he's about to start his flying lap. Got no traffic ahead of him, apart from a Ferrari slowing down.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ferrari, let's look at Drift, I believe. I think another debutant. I'm struggling to pronounce names, but he's only up in 17th. There's Cassidy is about to start his flying lap with a full tank of battery. And invalid lap for Flicks in the Williams there. So struggling to get through turn 1, especially the first sector by the looks of it for most drivers. So I think the guy who is going to complete his next lap will be Viper, but he has got traffic with the Ferrari ahead of him.
Yeah,
of.
I think that's Mr. Merckx about to begin his lap. But he's giving him some room. Lets him pass, so that's good there.
Yeah, only just about, but with that, would he get a little bit of time cost from the middle sector being the slipstream? But let's see, only P7 for now. Only a tenth behind P6 of Ivo, who's yet to do his second flying lap as he exits the pits now. As both of the Ferraris are in, so I think that's going to be game set unless I can get out with a new set on, because obviously it's a very short lap time around here.
Ooh, Cassidy just started his lap and he went miles right in turn 10 and somehow didn't invalidate.
Yeah, he
Not
must
quite
have
sure how
lifted
that
off,
happened.
which I'm guessing you lift off because the game does allow you to be a little bit more forgiving if you follow the correct rules set, I believe. So I think
Yeah.
he did lift off, but only P15 is the best he could do. With 2 minutes to go, I think that could be qualifying done for him. As we see most of the field coming out now.
So he flexes on the lap, he's up by 2/10 in the first sector, but he has a lot of traffic ahead of him. From the top group, Rekla is going to be the first one to start his lap.
We'll be on board with Flex. Dread. Oh, and there's Alpine Spun, and I think that could be Tex Rex.
No,
No,
that's
it wasn't.
Sano.
No, that was Sano. Getting those tyres up to temperature there. Stay on board with Flex. Going
Very good
quite
ride
deep into
there.
corners though. Quite a stiff car that he's driving. It's got loads of traffic in the middle last sector here. And he's going to get dirty air coming from the other Alpine driver. He loses the back end to start his lap.
He stays in Q19.
Yeah, he might go again to hopefully get slipstream off Tex Rex, but Tex Rex is just losing the back end over to turn 1 and he's
Just
invalidated as
invalidated.
well.
So everybody starting his lap now. Scar, he just finished his lap. Could improve a little bit, but can't improve his position. Meanwhile, there's Rekla. He had to abort his lap. He's gonna try.
He's going to try
Get
again.
another lap in.
So I think the next guy probably cross the line on a fast lap I can see will be Evil Zeke, and he's gone purple in the middle sector as he spins.
Oh god!
Oh, I mean that's impressive just to keep out of the
Yeah, good.
wall, but that's a shocker that he's lost that. He was on for probably front row by the looks of it, but that will be
Good job for
qualifying.
holding that, but that's his qualifying down.
Yeah, that's P4 for now or less. Strackler starts his lap as he says. Gamer looks like he's backed out, and that will be qualifying done
because he
for
was
him.
2/10 up on the pole on that lap coming through the second sector.
Well, let's go on board with Scar. Last corner. Looks like he's struggling to keep it in this black stuff, but it looks like he's managed to get up into P13. And let's look at wonderful Wonder Boy, Ball Boy in 19th, and that's it. One flying lap, only P19.
See, Rekka's coming through sector 2 right
Flex,
now.
last place in the gravel, not really having a good start of the track so far of the league.
Yeah. See, Rekka, he's not improving.
He's
way
in the
down on his
pits,
time.
and I think Tex Rex is invalidated his lap also. So by the looks of it, I believe that will be
Leslie,
apart
I
from the
think, is still
Ferrari.
pushing.
Yep. He's got no traffic ahead of him. Mounts the curve a little bit on the last corner, lost momentum. On the grass though, heading towards the line, and only P18.
Oh, and Texax there, deciding to kill himself coming across the line.
Well, he wasn't really on a flying lap. He invalidated his lap at the beginning, didn't he? So wasn't really much point carrying. But Flex is still. He's doing a Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, he's
crossing
turning
the
himself into a
grass.
lawnmower.
Yep.
I guess that's one way of making sure that you don't stand in the way of anybody's lap time, but...
I mean, yeah, that is pretty, like, sensible. Just try to stay out of the way. So he is still warming his tyres, like, think he's going to go for another lap. I don't think he's aware that qualifying's over.
Oh, and he's out of fuel as well now. As it comes across the line, gets qualifying done. Down in P20.
Oh, I love the commitment, despite the time saying it's pretty much over. But yeah, that's qualifying done for the first race of the season. As surprisingly, Gamer is out on top in the McLaren, followed by Rackler and Uri, which I think I got Uri spot on, as Evil Zook and the Williams driver of, how do you pronounce that? His name?
I just call him Emil. I think that's the
Emil.
easiest.
Alright, go for Emil P5, Ivo P6, Costa P7, VIP Gamer in 8th, Van Lungen in 9th, and Edzax in P10, and that is your top 10 for the Austrian Grand Prix.
And very impressive for me, the entire field, within 1.2 seconds. That's quite decent. The top 14 within 8 tenths.
Wow.
So it is quite close.
I didn't actually notice the gap between the whole field, so yeah, that is really, really impressive. We haven't had that for a while.
Oh. Okay, now that makes it even more interesting to see the entire field so close. Obviously they knew, they saw the weather report, they knew that it was going to rain in the race.
I mean, that kind of makes sense when I was on board with a few drivers. They were pretty much going into corners quite weirdly. So I think that could be a very good indication they were using a wet setup. But, I don't know. I wouldn't really like to be there tall driving around this track when it's wet. With
Yeah, it can be quite tricky.
Yeah, with high speed corners as well, which you can easily just lose the back end without even realising. And when you do, it's just too late to correct it. So yeah, this could be very challenging. Probably a lot of safety cars as well, which will be very interesting to see from our point of view. Probably not theirs.
Yeah, I mean, you and me, I think we've had some wet weather races around here. I think back in F3 and even in F2 on full wets, it is not a fun track. In wet conditions, luckily those guys, I think, only on intermediates. Oh no! They are on the dry tires.
Let me have a look. So that must be just an indication, because surely they didn't pick these tyres manually. I think Mark, the engineer, has pulled these out for them, so it must be drying, or it is going to dry. But looking at these people's cars, it is still incredibly wet out there. So as we see Evil Zook locking up into turn 2, so I don't know about you, I'm getting 2012 vibes. The game itself, when the AI randomly choose different compounds to which if it's a dry track. Because
I'm getting F1 season 13 vibes, I think it was, where we had the exact same scenario. That was back on F1 2021, where we had the exact same scenario around Silverstone, where it was wet, it was quite slippery, but the game gave you soft tires, or dry tires, and it was tricky, but just about manageable. But yeah, this looks very wet out of track.
Yeah, I think it's like similar to last year's game in F3 in France, when people going on to dry tires very early, despite the track looking very, very wet. So I think, it's just not a very good look for the game perspective that kind of stuff happens, because realistically it wouldn't. But yeah,
I mean, who knows? It could happen.
Yeah, maybe. But as we see drivers line up to the grid, someone does a 360 with it, which is Ivo. Yeah,
very nice. Put it in the rules that you shouldn't do that, so that might be investigated later on. Tell you who's going to struggle. Scar on the hard, he's going to have no temperature in his tire.
Yeah, as Flips has done the same thing, does a donut towards his box. So he will be
and overshots the box as well.
Yeah, but here we go. First race of the season in F2. And here we go, 5 red lights, and away we go. Everyone is struggling. Very, very slow start. Cautious by everyone.
Oh, look at the Williams there on the soft tires.
Ivo's having a very slow start. He's down bottom of the top 10.
See, there are some spinners in the back, I think. JB had some issues, and Edzak as well. But everybody's still facing in the right direction.
Yeah, but now coming up turn 2. Very direct turn right up the hill. Contact between Uri and...
no one was going banana. I think he lost it and he's in the barrier. and out of the race. That could be a safety car, and it is.
Whoa, I just got off shot there because I was on board with Sano, got contact with Yori. I'm guessing he dropped it onto power because a few drivers have lost it up there. I don't think there was any
Yeah.
collisions. So
Yeah,
I
I
think he,
saw Gaiman Banan go wide there, and I guess coming back across those bumps on the outside, he probably just lost it under power. It's unfortunate for a pole setter to make it not even 3 corners into the race.
yeah, that is very, very unfortunate for probably a debutant as well for the league. That's such a shame. But I
He's
had,
not,
but
he's not debutant to the league. He was actually here in FRL last season, and he has proven that he's quite quick. You saw now with damage coming into the box.
okay.
I reckon he might even go for Inters.
Well, it depends what Mark is saying on the radio. If it's people think it's going to be ready for Inter, so it's going to stay dry. It looks like the sun's going to come out
A couple
by the
guys
looks
coming
of
in
it.
the box.
Asano's in the pits, who is on hards. The Ferrari behind him, who is also on hards. So I'm guessing the track is going to be drying, but right now it's not dry enough.
His car's damage. He's picking the mediums.
The
Azak is
headsets.
pitting the... Okay. Now this is going to be either very, very smart, or it's going to cost him the race.
I mean, if he was down in the pecking order when the safety car came out, you might as well do a risky strategy.
True.
But by the looks of the crowds, especially on board with him looking towards the left, it looks very bright in the distance. So I'm not too sure if people are going for the same strategy and there's no weather update. I'll probably stick with the dries anyway.
Yeah. I mean, for now it is still raining a bit. There are still a few drops falling. But if it's going to be a good indication to see if it's wet enough, as Mr. Merckx has lost it on the hards, cold hards on the slippery track.
Oh, and I think he got damage as well, so he has to come
Yeah.
again and drop those hards.
I mean,
And
good thing is
back.
he's only going to lose 2 positions for all of that.
Yeah, speaking of positions, Cassidy has made up 7 positions in that start between the safety car, which is only half a lap, so that's a very good jump by him, followed by Ballboy, Flicks, and the Ferrari driver as well, 6 positions, followed by Texrex, 5 positions, Steven 5 positions as well, so there's a lot of mixture from where they started on the grid.
Good
Ivo's
start
down.
from the 2 Aston Martins as well. Leclerc in P1 gaining 1 position, Van Dongen gaining 5 positions, now in P4.
Yeah, obviously Ivo's lost it as well. I was mainly looking at him at the start because he was in P4, I believe, and he was just outside the top 10 before we got to the first corner. So very troubled conditions, and it looks like it is still raining just by looking at all the streaks on these cars as well. So I really don't know what Mark is doing to these drivers, because obviously we don't know. We can only commentate.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
only
the thing
these
is for the
drivers.
drivers, they had a lap, with safety cars out, they had the opportunity to pit or Inters. The one advantage that Azak has over the other drivers is the Inters don't have to be up to temperature to work. They have a much lower temperature window, so he might be faster than a lot of guys around him on the hards, on the mediums, at the restart. But it might be still too dry for the Inters, and he might start wearing those out before it can get wet enough.
Yeah, and I think there's a good indication of, obviously, when it's raining, you see the light flickering for the cars ahead to let you know it is raining. So I think Edzak has made the very good choice here by those lights alone. So he might make a very good jump at the start, but we have to wait and see if it does dry up or not. If it does dry off, it might take a couple of laps to do so. So he might have to hope for maybe another safety car. Again, he might have to pit again, but at least he doesn't use both compounds.
Yeah. Another thing that I'm noticing riding on board with AdSacs, obviously you can see all the slick tires, all the drivers weaving around trying to get temperature in. AdSac doesn't have to do that, but he stays on the racing line, so that tells me that he's not looking for puddles, that his tires aren't overheating. So I think the Inters might be the tire to be on for now. The question is, how long is it going to take for the track to start drying up? because once we have 20 cars going around here on racing speed, it's going to be a dry line quite quickly.
Well, it'd be very quite interesting to see what happens during the start. But now, because the safety car comes out for 2 or 3 laps, do you think it helps the soft tires now massively to make it an easy one-stop from here?
I think it should help them, definitely. Just purely based on tire wear, the hards can go, I think, almost the entire race distance. But I think we want to stretch out those softs as long as possible because you don't want to be on hards on a slippery track like we saw with Mr. Merckx.
But do you think they can stretch it to a soft medium? That's what I'm asking.
That's a
Or is
bit
that
more
too long?
difficult, but I think it could be done, especially if we have more safety cars, which is always a possibility. But I think it could just about be done.
Well, as we're waiting to see if the weather does dry up, we are waiting to see these drivers go off. It looks like Rackler's leading the way already, leaving the Williams outside only half a second. As actually, I need to put the telemetry up for the gaps. Leader, there you go.
Oh, Leslie's in the pits at the restart, that's interesting. And we have a spinner sector 3 and that's Mr. Merckx.
Looks like the Red Bull of Gamer is looking at the opportunity for P3 here with Van Dungen and Costa. Van Dungen looks like pushing back, but looks like he's going to get the undercut on both of them. And look at that, 2 in 1 corner, brilliant move.
Beautiful. Looking at Edzak is... He's already passing Lizano on the restart.
Position for the lead here.
Oh, yeah.
The Williams driver and Rackler. Obviously, they're on different 2 tyre compound, so Rackler is trying to hold on for this P1. Make him go down around the outside of Rackler. A little bit of contact though. I think he's okay to get away with that, but he's lost the position to P2.
Yeah. So far, relatively clean apart from obviously the 2 Ferraris. I'm not quite sure why Leslie pitted. He went back onto the medium, so he might have had damage right towards the end of the safety car restart. As Scar and Lizano, JB is in the pits now.
As Edzak has gone purple of all for 13-1.
That's quite impressive. I'm going to take a look at the fastest laps.
And that was Edzak's, and I think the previous one was VIP Gamer, who's in 3rd place, and that was just after the safety car restart, so...
Yeah. He's lapping a few tenths faster than we are right now, about 3 to 4 tenths, so... It seems like the entires are
side by side, now. Sorry, Evils and Cassidy for P7. Down to turn 3. Oh, holds around the outside. I think Evils just gave him the position because he felt like he pushed him out wide. Looked like it was alright to me, but fair place to do so. But now he's just compromised his run now, as Ivo is sniffing for P8 on him as well. As you see a little bit of a train here with Ivo now, from P8 all the way down to P14.
Lizano spun around. Oh, and has he beached it? I think he might have beached it and reset to track. Now you are allowed to reset to track if you're completely breached, and oh, he spins again.
Yeah, on the hard tyres, it's probably still cold. It takes a few laps to get these tyres up to temperature.
Yeah, you do not want to be on the hard tyres in those conditions.
Oh, is he still spin? So that gives me another indication that it's still very wet if he's just trying to keep it together, actually.
And Ivo now still on the back of Zook, trying to find a way through, almost running into the back of him.
Oh, there's a big traffic jam there. As said, he's switched positions as Ballboy's now putting on the pressure on Texrex with P10.
Yeah. Leslie is coming in for interest.
Oh, is that?
Oh, Rackler.
Looks like Rackler. Rackler spun down into P6 now. I think he made contact with Viper, I think, because I think they were going side by side in turn 2.
Yeah, it is very possible. Does he have damage? I don't think he does. Front wing looks okay.
And I think the leading man, the Williams, I think he's got front wing damage also by looking at one of the camera shots. I have to double check
front wing is still there.
Yeah, but I think he's got a missing end plate by the looks of it.
There's
Texrex spot. Oh, there's a big crash.
And Williams as well.
Yeah, and I think Edzax was a part of that as well, who was on the Inters, they were flying.
Yeah. Ida has spawned as well, he's down in P10 now, and we have never safety car on our hands, so that all happened quite suddenly.
One shot to another, there's just carnage everywhere. That's another thing you get from the Austrian Grand Prix, there's commotions everywhere.
Yeah.
But
We have more guys pitting now.
it started off with a Tex Rex spinning in the second to last corner, which caused a massive pile up. There wasn't enough time for the car to be ghosted, so no one could have reacted. But Edzax comes back out on the same intermediate tyres, well, another set of intermediates, so people are following his strategy by the looks of it from behind.
It's unfortunate for him though, because if he wouldn't have had to pit now with damage, I think everybody's going to come in for Inters now at this point. I think if he wouldn't have had to come in for Inters, he
could be leading.
Could be leading by now, yeah.
Yeah, but we have to wait and see though, because I don't think anyone has been given the call.
Let's see, the AP is going to stay out.
Oh, someone's coming into the pits. It looks like Van Dungen. Yep. But a few people have stayed out. I think the majority of the field has stayed out. Ball boy.
Now we've got a lot of guys coming in now.
Sorry. Ball boy being ball boy. I can't.
He's been on pit entrance.
I'm not saying anything. I'll let the stream do the talking. But he lost his front wing in the process. I believe coming into some intermediate tyres, of course.
That's embarrassing for him.
Yeah, no one saw it, ball boy. I think it looked like JB was about to come into the pits, but he bailed out. Which don't need to if he did want to, because he's already on the intermediates. But yeah,
you're right. Half the field's still staying out. Ballboy's going for, I don't know, it's Emil going for the mediums as well.
That's interesting. Flex has gone back out on a fresh set of intermediates, and so did Van Dungen.
No, they're mediums, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I said. Mediums.
Is it intermediates? I think.
No, I think it's closer than Mike. But yeah, he's on the
anyway.
Mediums. He's on the mediums. Van Dungen, which that makes things very more complicated for us to predict what's happening. Because we got obviously we got him on the fresh set of mediums, but we got Scar who's on the leading intermediate running back. So who would you put your bet on at this rate? Because it is raining still.
I'm not sure. I mean, obviously the drivers know more than we do right now. They got Mark in their ear telling them how much longer this rain is going to last and all that. I think with the current condition of the track, if you can get your slick tires up to temperature, they will be faster. But it's that warming up phase, those first 2 or 3 laps, trying to get temperature into the tires, where a lot of those guys on the mediums are going to struggle, and that's where the intermediates are going to try to make a difference. But yeah, right now, I think it's like right on the crossover, and if it stops raining soon, it will definitely be time for the slicks, but yeah, as I said, the tire warm-up is the main Achilles heel right now for those dry compound runners.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they did it by choice. I think they did it because they seen how Edzax, how he got some immediate pace from those intermediates before the second stage goes. So I think they did that just to cover him off basically, not by choice itself. But you do have to feel for Edzax for down in P13. You should be maybe P7 at this point from those guys pitted around him, which still could have been a hunt for the lead, but you still can be if the intermediates are still the faster tyre at the stage. But you are looking at Scar, who's leading that train, not only Scar but JB with a Haas 1-2 in that little train, the intermediate train obviously. But we'll just see, as it is still raining, and I know we've been through this quite a few times, but I just generally don't know where it's going. But the drivers know best when it comes to this sort of scenario. So yeah, what an interesting race to start off in FRL. That'd be interesting.
I mean, I don't think we could dream for a better start. I mean, we wouldn't have this kind of race in Bahrain, I think that's safe to say. Rain usually isn't that much of a factor around there.
I mean,
But yeah, it's interesting. It's quite strategic, and as you said, right now anybody could win because we don't know what tire is the best to be on. We don't know what it's going to look like in 10 minutes. Maybe the drivers don't even know what it's going to look like in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, either way, the majority, especially in the top 10, majority will have to pit to use both compounds because they haven't used the intermediate tyres, which they probably will have to go on the hards. And if it's like, probably if it still carries on dripping like this, I think that's going to be even more struggle for those top 10 runners because, as we all know, the hard tyres do take well, days just to get itself up to temperature. So probably like 5 or 7 laps with conditions like this. So I'll probably be on the intermediates actually. Now thinking about it, as we see the safety car comes in, and we'll stay on board with the top 3 and see what they can do. Well, we'll need to keep an eye outside the top 10 with those intermediate runs to see if they actually make an impact.
Yeah. Volvo is leaving quite a big gap to his teammate. He's closing it up now. Leslie at the back end. I think he's just about going to catch up to the rest of the field. But yeah, VIP leading away now. On slicks in the wet. Let's see how he can handle this restart.
Yeah, to wait and see. On board with Costa in P2, see if he can react when he goes. Very close to the back of him, and it looks like he's gone now. No, can't tap between the two, so it's a very nice restart. Looks like Van Dungen's going defensive already from Cassidy. Not the best camera angle here. PhD together. Oh, Ivo.
Ooh, Ivo.
Oh, a helicopter shot as well. Brilliant, but he's lost all those positions.
Yeah.
Down in P14 now, behind them in some intermediate runners. But let's just see, up to turn one. I'm going to stay with this camera angle. It looks pretty divine with the helicopter shot. Nice and clean by the looks of it.
The two Haas guys are going side by
Yeah,
side now. Free
oh!
right with Tex Vex on the inside.
Sorry, Costa's fighting for the lead. Did a little bit of a switchback up to turn 3. Backs out of it though, so he's putting the pressure on P1 here. As Cassidy looks like he's going to go down the inside. Ooh, he clips the back end on Van Dungen. Lost the momentum though, and now he's under pressure by Evil Zook. And this is Van Dungen. Got the drivers mixed up there. Van Dungen up into P4, sorry. And looks like Van Dungen down the inside. Van Dungen down the inside of Evil Zook to the second to last corner. Brilliant move from him. And there's a safety car, and it's the Williams behind.
Emil, I think, in
and
the
he's lost his front
background.
wing. Yeah.
So it's our third safety car now?
Yeah, it's another safety car. And now, what would you do now? You're in this top 10, top 5, not pitted. Would you pit now?
I mean, at this point, they gotta commit to their strategy, because if they pit now, they're gonna be at the back end, and everybody will be on the same strategy, so there's not that much of a difference to get back. So right now, the medium runners, they just have to commit. This depends how much tire life they have on most mediums.
Yeah, and by the look, I'm just looking at the map where the Williams retired.
I think that's not in the pit lane.
Yeah, that doesn't look like it's in the pit lane to me.
Yeah, I mean, he retired after the safety car was already out, but even then, we don't want Debris to be on the circuit, as Zook has regained a couple of places. I think he had a bit of a moment.
Yeah, there's a massive.
Again.
Yeah, there's a massive gap between 7th and 6th. But yeah, now the car retires. I am very suspicious that he has crashed in the pit wall.
Look at that.
Right, Evil Zook is in. We've got a few people in now. Top 3 are in, followed by Cassidy. Uri stays out. He's committed to a medium soft, I believe. Followed by Van Dungen, who will have to make a stop, but he could actually make it to a medium to softs if there's no safety car.
Weckler on the hards. Oh, Weckler and Zook, they're gonna have a bad time. And Mr. Merckx as well on those hard tires.
Oh, busy in the pit lane. Yeah, there's a few people in on the hard tyres, which, as we have seen, It's not really right now. It's not the best tire to be on, just to get them up to temperature. Because they'll
Yeah.
probably still be really cold when we even get going. So they do have to play the patient game when the safety car comes in. That's all they can do at the minute. But Ivo, who was up there, is down in pretty much last place on intermediate zone. But now, yeah, the majority is on intermediate tyres. Again, with the two Hasses leading the way in that train, just beyond the top three who is on medium. So it's looking good for them boys at the minute.
Yeah, definitely good situation for the Haas drivers right now. Very interesting for me, VIP on the softs. I mean, obviously you won't drive through to the end on those tires. Oh, and there's a very late call from the safety car to come in.
Oh
But
wow!
VIP, he's gonna get his tires up to temperature faster than the medium runners, so I think he's gonna be a good reference to see if the softs can actually beat the intermediate in those conditions.
Unless he might go for soft and mediums back if there's another safety car. Maybe that's his plan. But we have to wait and see. Van Dungen we're on board with in P2, and Uri has gone. Flicks
Right
up
behind him.
into P3 now, despite having a very poor qualifying. But look at the train behind him.
Knocked up. Look at Scar.
Yeah, Scar's up to P3 now. Good move. He's going to get P2 here. Loads of battle positions behind for P6. Sano trying to go around the outside of Scar.
There's a little bit
Oh,
of
contact. I think
I
Sano
think JB and
gave.
Flex. Oh god, Van Dongen with a massive moment there, and I think there's an end plate flying, and I think that's from one of the Haas boys. I think
Yeah, there was an end plate
Scar.
gone. Yeah, oh.
Oh,
And
look at Scar.
Uri spun from the lead.
Oh
I
no.
think he spun it on his own.
Yeah, on those old mediums, they couldn't give him any more grip. Scar's leaking now, but he has damage on his left side end plate.
And Sano is in P2 with Texas behind an Alpine 2-3. It's a great start by them, but I think Sano did give a little clip to the Williams driver as JB makes a move on Tex-Rex.
It's gonna be close. Watch out.
Yep. Scar stays out though. Scar stays out with a damaged front wing.
Yeah. Further down, VIP is in the pits, Van Dongen is in the pits. I think they even touch on mid-entrance.
Yeah, I think that Gamers gave Van Dungen a bit of a bunch in the pit lane. As you see, 5 drivers in the pits lane now. That Gamer is gone for the intermediate, so is Van Dungen. Few people, pretty much the majority of them lot have gone on the intermediate tyre. But look at Sano going around the outside of Scar, and he's got the lead.
Oh god, I almost hit him again.
Yeah, there was a little bit of contact, but not much to upset Sano. But he's got the lead.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Texax holding up a massive train behind him.
Yep, I think he's trying to do his teammate a favour. Not sure if they're in a party together, but if they are working quite a pairing, as there's a huge squabble for this P3 here. Because this train is covered by P11.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a little bit of a mess here, and I think Steven actually has got damage to his front wing also. So people
it doesn't surprise me with all the close racing going on. Meanwhile, Zuka and Mr. Merckx both in the pits, almost hard, not working out for them. Flex with a penalty.
So I'm probably sick of repeating myself. They're probably thinking of it's just going to dry up as a little dive bomb from JB down to Tex-Rex. He pushes out wide. Would Edzax get
Here
the
comes
swept back on
Edzak.
both for them?
That's 3 wide.
Would he get 2 in one go here?
He's killed JB. And he's killed
Yes,
Texax. Good move. And JB still fighting side by side with Texax behind him. While Cassidy getting past with Steven. Cassidy is on a really good move forward. He has the freshest inters out of everybody in the top 8.
Yeah, but he just has to be really patient to get past these guys. It's all for P3 here at this moment. As it looks like Edzak and JB are slowly getting away, so Texas might carry a little bit of damage, I'm not too sure. but sure enough, Edzek is slowly pulling away. But Sano and Edzek Scar are pulling away as a two, despite Scar having damaged his front wing.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't think you run that much downforce around Austria anymore, so having a little bit less, probably not making that much of a difference, as Costa is going down the inside of Steven. 4P9, or Steven also struggling, also with damage on his right side end plate, I just see.
Yeah, about 2 laps ago, he lost it probably in that carnage. He chose not to pit, but he is paying the price at the minute. He's outside the top 10 now.
Yeah.
So
To be honest, if I would be him, I would just stay out as well, wait for the next safety car, which is definitely going to come at some point.
we can only hope. It's only when he's outside the top 10 there's no safety car. Ironic. But Scar, with down to his front wing, still keeping Sano positive, only 6-7 tenths behind him. And
Also, I just noticed, throughout the entire race we did not have DRS.
Oh yeah. So remind me, what is DRS again?
So DRS, for you and for everybody else watching that doesn't know much about F1, if the driver is within 1 second of the car in front of him and he goes through a DRS detection point, on the map you can see those green circuits, those are the detection points. Come on, I'm trying to be educational here.
What?
If you're within 1 second of the driver ahead in the dry, you can then open your rear wing, open the drag reduction system, be faster down the straight and overtake the car into the next corner. You asked me what it was, I delivered, so don't fall asleep now.
I only did it for the audience, I know what mine is personally.
Yeah. And now our audience knows as well, in case we didn't already.
Sorry. Yeah, back to the race action now, as Sano has broken that 1 second to Scar, still looking pretty promising though. But Edzak has not pulled away from this group of cars behind, so it's still promising for P3 though. Not as bunched up, apart from when you go down to Ballboy, who is holding everyone up a treat in P7.
One car that I'm keeping an eye on right now is Cassidy in P6, as I said, on freshest tires, half as much laps on them as the leaders, and he's just been carving his way through the field. He extended the gap between him and Volvo to 1.5 seconds. He's putting pressure on Texax now. So let's see, as Costa is getting past Volvo as well.
Yeah,
let's see if we can maybe close the gap to P3.
Yeah, Ballboy does not lose once but twice from Ivo as well. Not using, now he uses overtake after he gets overtaken. But he's down to P9 at the minute. Getting under push from the Ferrari now. As just see, looks like Edzak is slowly closing the gap now to Scar, down to 1.6 seconds. He's slowly dragging JB with him. But yeah, the closest battle, as we see for the top 10, is Cassidy on Texrex. Texrex gone a little bit defensive down to turn the second to last corner. Texrex got more battery like out of the two, half a battery compared to Cassidy, who's on nearly 10% battery.
Oh, sector 3, that's Flex out. Quick off, and that might be another safety car.
There we go. That's
I mean, that's good for all those guys in the back. They can close back up again, but God, Flex is way off. He must have had a massive spin there.
Yeah, by the looks of it. Vanden gets a drive through.
It's unfortunate.
I think he spun underneath a safety car.
Yeah. I just saw Yuri also slow down massively, so maybe they had that glitch where sometimes under safety car you just get a massive data, like you have to slow down by 20 seconds. So maybe that's what happened to him.
Yeah, which happens in the British Grand Prix also, which it can be a massive gap and all of a sudden you have to go to Coin Mole, which is very, very unfair on this game.
I'm wondering now, will Scar do Steven pit for new front wing? I think Scar's, he almost overtook Sano coming to the pits now.
Yeah, Scar. Oh, both of the Hasses as well. Oh, Little late move from Ed Sachs to come to the pit. I think he was in limits.
And how's it gonna double stack?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
gonna hurt
I was
JB.
just, which doesn't help JB a lot.
I mean, they might as well. They're all on old tires, so I can understand that Nisanovo staying out on 15 lap old tires.
Yeah, but
Cassidy on 8 laps.
you got Scar changing his front wing as well, which is going to hurt JB even more. He's probably be at the back of the pack at the end of this race if no one
Yeah.
else pits. Scar's in P8 coming out of the pits. And see JB is 2 minutes behind, doesn't change his front wing, just has a threat set in general. And he's down in P12, P13 maybe, behind Evil Zoo. So that does cost him at least probably P10. But we have two drivers who is on penalties, which is surprisingly I don't see more.
I mean, usually Austria is a track where if you go off, you hit a lot of bumps, so you want to stay away from those most bumps and those high curbs on the exits. And there's gravel and grass right next to the track, so
yeah,
it's one of the more traditional tracks.
When I say two, I mean one, because obviously one of them's a Vandugan, and it is only a penalty, a drive-through penalty. So it is just Gamer that's only got a 3 second. Which I think that was from a safety car restart, when it got really, really messy.
Yeah. See everybody on the intermediates now. Oh, Yuri. Yuri's on the hards, and he's already going wide and almost spins it under safety car, so yeah, hards definitely not the tire to go for, as we are already on lap 22 all of a sudden.
Yes, sir. Oh, man, did someone just stop? It looked like someone just, like a ghosted car was just on the racing line, looking back on that. Okay, a little bit confusing, but yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Well, we got
just
probably...
seeing things.
Yeah, I am. I'm still waking up, even though I haven't been at work today. But yeah, I think it's doable if the safety car comes in, which I presume would be this lap. I think if the track did decide to dry up, I think we could be seeing some soft tire compounds, but there's still yet to see that. Probably we won't see that at all this race. But would you say this has been a very interesting race so far as we look at the fastest lap times? Rackler has got the fastest lap of all with a 12.1.
Yeah. But it was definitely an interesting race. I mean, for half the race nobody knew which tire to be on. It was usually quite a good sign for an interesting race. And I lost count of how many leaders we had by now. We had guys who had spun and are back up front again. We have Nisano, who, interestingly enough, if I remember Bahrain last season and pre-season, he got pole by, I think, like half a second, led the first couple of laps, and then spun. And now here, in those difficult conditions, he somehow found himself in P1. So we got Nisano possibly fighting for a win in F2. We got Cassidy right behind him on fresher tires, possibly fighting for a win. We got Kostya, who wasn't really all that competitive last season, all of a sudden up there within a podium position. We got Ivo, who lost so many positions at the start. We got Edzak, who was the first one to bid for Inters. So it is a very interesting race developing, and still, I think literally anybody could win it, even Yuri down in P17.
Yeah, that is very true. I think that was a stupid question to ask if this was an interesting race, just what you described right there.
I mean, if that's right, it's usually interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, very true. Despite it's like we rarely see a race like this, that it's very rare we see we're not sure what tyres to go on, that kind of vibe, which obviously to the drivers they know what tyres to go on, but obviously we don't know, and it's just normally the basic strategy. It's either wet or dry comparing the conditions, and it was pretty much a mixer throughout this race. So yeah, it's been very, very interesting as the safety car comes in, and I don't think it could be the last, because I think this is only the 4th safety car. Maximum is 5.
Yep.
And with 12 laps to go, so I think if there was a dry track, or any gamblers out there, if there's another safety car, we could see some soft tyre run-ins. But it looks like the weather has picked up massively. Yeah, there's a lot of people to keep an eye on. Sarno, see if he can keep this lead. Cassidy with those fresher tyres behind him. Even Ed Sachs, who was the first person to start on the Inters. Despite being messed up at the beginning, he's still up there in P5. Tex-Rex, could he finally get some pace on those intermediates? Can you hold up Ballboy? Scar as well, who was in P2. Can he find his way up there? And here we go.
Oh,
As we
very
see,
late start, and there's Costa and Ivo.
yeah, there's a lot of people fighting for P3, P2 already. And
Is
there's a
Ivo
lot
going
of
wide in P4?
yeah, there's a lot of commotions off the last safety car restart. There's a lot of commotions up the lower end of top 10. Looks like 4 abreast now. Going into turn 2. Scar has to back out there.
And somehow, they all survived.
Yeah, they all survived, but it looks like Scar was in P8, down to P14 now, just to be careful, just to keep it on the track. The Mercedes. Sorry, my headphones were going a little bit. The Aston Martin making its way, trying to put pressure on P12. Scar's trying to get his positions back.
Costa's one round.
Commentator's curse from you, not from me. You're the first one of the season.
True.
Not being competitive at all, from the great words of T-Hawk himself.
Talking about commentator curses, Cassidy within 2/10 of Nisano.
I'm not saying anything because obviously he's a former teammate. I don't want him to get any.
I mean, I already cursed him before the race. I told him, please try not to bottle it in the race. So
okay, it doesn't matter then. But Ivo putting pressure on his Cassidy's teammates. Oh, and he's pushed him out wide.
Takes him wide, and there goes Ballboy through into P4 possibly. P5
yeah, and Ivo has just lost outside the top 10 yet again. But I do blame that on Ed Sachs. So he did push Ivo on the grass, which gave him some dirt on tyres. So I think Ed Sachs might be in trouble at the end of this race. But now,
could be a possibility.
But Ivo down in P11. Thankfully, he's still in this race. But Ed Sachs could be looking at.
Oh, and look at Cassidy. He got so much speed coming out of turn 8. He's side by side with Misano now, through turn 9. Can't find a way through.
Oh, he's going to be down in the last corner.
Careful, Cassidy.
Yeah.
I was calm.
Yeah, but Sano is using overtake to defend, but you need to watch out for Tex-Rex behind though. Obviously Sano's teammate. So I think
Sano's just running very low downforce in general, because he is quite fast without even using overtake.
Well, the Alpines have got similar battery life compared to Cassidy, who's down on 30%. Charlie in the commentary box, I thought you were supposed to be resigning. He says, come on Cassidy for the win, from the grumpy Charlie himself. He should be doing his homework. If he's not, he's in trouble.
VIP sent it on Ballboy. Ballboy with the switchback coming through turn 4. Very nice move from him. I mean, 2-1 Ballboy flying under the radar as always. Qualified second to last. As Evil Zook is getting overtaken by...
no, I think Evil Zook has caused it, or is he left the session?
Not sure. It doesn't... I think he might be paused, or he left the session on 2. He's definitely dropping places. As Cassidy on Nisano again, and again Nisano just pulling away. Yeah, much faster on the straight, but Cassidy is then gaining again through the corners.
Yeah, Evil Zook has got some problems because he's dropping down the field. But yeah, Sano is holding up Cassidy quite. I don't know if he's just being cautious because now he's leading, or he's just trying to get a 1-2 for his team. I'm not too sure, but he's doing a brilliant job so far. But now we went from 2 cars fighting for the lead for possibly.
Costa's lost the second to last corner.
Yeah, I think the pressure's getting to him now. I think he's just desperate for a safety car to get back into this race. With 8 laps to go. Gasly is now put pressure back on Sano once again.
Yeah. Gasly clearly with more downforce and obviously more grip on those intermediates. Much faster through the second sector, but when Sano is just pulling away on those straights, obviously without the DRS, but I explained in great detail earlier, Gasly can't really keep up with him on those straights.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking compared to the two. Sano was not using any battery, so that was just pure straight line speed that he's putting away. But Gasly's using overtake. Sano is not. Obviously, Gasly's turning off halfway through down the straight, but that just shows the difference between straight line speed and downforce in the corners. As we see,
He's going to be
Ratcliffe
much
going
better on
side by
the
side
brakes.
with Allboy making the move down, put the fastest sector down of anyone so far.
Oh, and JB on the inside as well. That's a bit late. He kind of pulled out of it for our season.
Whoa! Oh, Stephen!
Oh no!
I think there was a clip as he was joins back, so he must left the session. But I think he
And
made a
safety
little.
car.
Yeah, I think it was Stephen and Scar. Looking through the drivers behind, there was a bit of contact between the two drivers, so I do think it was between Stephen and Scar.
Did Steven lock up and hit him or what? I didn't see that.
No, I think Stephen. No, Scar came across in the braking zone and just clipped Stephen. I'm not really entirely sure. I was flicking through all the drivers. But yeah, I think it was just a little contact, which was enough to send Stephen in the wall. So
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, there might be
Also
some.
in the pits.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the pits, so either back in the pits for a final fresh set of enters, because this will be the last safety car.
You know what I'm wondering? Do you reckon Nisano can actually make it to the end? Because he's on 23 level tires.
I didn't really think about it that way. I didn't really look at the tyre wear on his car, but
I mean, he obviously had a lot of safety cars in between to be easy on his tires, but still, 23 laps. He's going to be on 29 at the end of the race. 29 laps, 30 laps.
I mean, with these 2 laps underneath the safety car, he can really take care of them. But especially with his straight line speed, plus with overtake just to defend, I think he could actually have this covered. But now we're coming to the back end of this race. 6 laps to go, probably 4 laps of racing. We might see some, I don't like to use this word, but like dirty tactics. Obviously, who can actually make some risky moves and just get away with it.
I think Cassidy will have to be aggressive on this restart because we saw that Nissan is carrying more straight line speed and that's what's protecting him so far. I think Cassidy just has to use his superior grip and just send it down the inside of turn 2, turn 3. Just go for that dive and hope that Nissan sees him.
Yeah, but he might have to push him up. If that does happen, he might have to give Sano a bit of a squeeze because this first part of the lap is just straight, so he's going to make it more difficult to get a jump on him. Yeah. I mean, if it were going the other way, he's just sitting and done. But I don't. Yeah, but I think it's going to be a very struggle for Gasly to get the jump on him on the restart because now Sano will have the battery as well just to defend it, and obviously straight line as well. It looks like he's not going to drive at all. It looks like the rain has eventually stopped by looking at these cars, but it's just a little bit too late for
Obviously a bit falling.
Yeah, just a little bit, but around the halo, it was barely, probably at the back end of the lap. But yeah, no chance for wet dries this race.
Second car's going to come in. Just one lap. Where's Nissan going to restart? Last time he restarted quite late. Theoretically, because he has the speed in his car, he could restart early, build that gap to Cassidy early on, with better straight line speed.
Well, he was pretty much hitting the brakes as soon as that safety car lights went out, so I think he's trying to get a big gap to the safety car so he can go early. Warming his tyres up, but he needs to be careful because he doesn't want to warm those too much. But we'll have to wait and see. Go on board with Tex-Rex, see if he can get a jump on Cassidy.
See. Someone's gonna leave it late again.
Tex-Rex gets the jump on Cassidy.
Tex-Rex. Very good. Those Alpines must be in the same party. Oh no! Cassidy. He hit him. Is that damage for Cassidy? I think he still has both his end
I'm not too
plates.
sure, but Cassidy gets back pass.
That was a bump and
Yellow
run right there. It's
flags
Mr.
behind.
Merckx retired. Exit of T1. Tex-Rex gets past again. Cassidy still on the
Cassidy goes
inside.
down.
Sends it.
Good move, wheel-to-wheel racing. Good move from him. Got
Gets
P2
in
again.
position.
But
Isaac
the
goes
Red Bull
in position.
of Gamer is going to go down the inside of both of them. Gives Cassidy a nudge.
Tex-Rex
Now
with the
Tex-Rex
switchback.
is going
There's
to do
still
a
three
switchback
wide.
of both of them. Cassidy still holds on.
Oh no! Oh, we're
Contact as well.
banging.
I think Gamer might have a little bit of damage. He hit the back of Cassidy quite hard.
I'm surprised that Cassidy doesn't have damage after punting Tex-Rex into turn
It's
one.
Tex-Rex had a bit of a tank sub. He just hit Gamer into the wall.
It's unfortunate. I think Gamer though, no damage to his front wing, at least not to his end plates. And Cassidy somehow caught up to Nisano again. So Nisano must have made some kind of mistake, because he's right behind him now, as Tex-Rex is battling with Rekla.
Yeah, that was close, but somehow they still managed to hold on to turn one. But Ratcliffe's coming back at him though. Very close to his rear. Going up to turn two, but he managed to get the move done. As Ed nearly hit the backs of Tex-Rex. So what a brilliant restart by Rackler. I don't know where he was, but he wasn't inside the top 5, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it was P6, P7 possibly. So good restart from him. He's going to try to close up